Hello everyone and welcome to the BMW i4. This rather cool customer is one of BMW's latest fully electric cars. And if you can see past that striking grille, you'll find there's an awful lot to like. The BMW i4 is the natural rival to some seriously accomplished opposition, including the Polestar 2 and the Tesla Model 3. But it manages to stand out from the crowd, not by being crazy and different, but by being reassuringly conventional and a doddle to live with. So, if you'd like to go electric, but you don't fancy dealing with wacky bodywork or gimmicky tech, then the i4 might be the car for you. In this video, we'll go through what makes this BMW so good, from the charging times to the range, what it's like to drive, and which version is best for you. I'm Hope Ellen, and this is another Parker's Cars review. Before I get started, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on so you get a reminder every time we publish a new video. At the time of filming, there are two versions of the BMW i4 to choose from. One is called the eDrive 40 and the other the M50. It's a straight trade-off. The eDrive 40 has a longer range with up to 367 miles available between charges, but the M50 has four-wheel drive and more performance. The interior of the i4 will feel familiar if you spend any time in a modern BMW. The layout's very driver-focused and everything feels pretty high quality. The dashboard is dominated by these two huge displays, which might look intimidating, but are actually really easy to navigate, whether you're doing that through the touchscreen or this useful click wheel down here on the centre console. It feels much more traditional in here than a Tesla Model 3 or a Polestar 2, which could be seen as a good or a bad thing depending on your personal preference. The i4 sits quite low to the ground and the driving position is low too. Great for when you're feeling sporty, not so reassuring in town. The front seats have loads of adjustment, including neat touches like this adjustable seat squab, which is great for drivers with longer legs. Parking is easy too. This car's equipped with Parking Assistant Plus, which gives you a really cool 360-degree camera setup. You can even view the feed on your smartphone if you're worried someone's going to scratch your car when you're not looking. The i4 is available in three levels of trim. There's the eDrive 40, available as either a Sport or an M Sport model, or the standalone M50. Standard equipment's generous whichever model you go for, and every car has LED headlights, keyless entry, climate control, cruise control, and wireless smartphone connectivity, courtesy of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The BMW i4 comes with these two massive screens as standard. You get the dials and the gauges on this 12.3-inch screen, while the infotainment gets this huge 14.9-inch screen. But under this one sheet of glass, they look and act like one super widescreen display. You can operate it in a few ways. Gesture control and voice control are available, but the touchscreen works well, and so does this scroll wheel, perfect if you need to make adjustments while on the move. You can also use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which feel totally seamless. Unlike some rivals, they're properly integrated into the infotainment system, instead of running in a little window. So it feels like your phone is properly mirrored on the screen. The only real shame here is that BMW's moved the climate controls to the touchscreen too. They're not exactly hard to use, but we always prefer a dedicated panel of buttons for this. The other thing is that the sheer number of options on the display may mean you'll probably have to spend some time getting used to it before you know exactly where everything is. As for storage space, open this centre cubby up, and you'll find cup holders and a wireless charging pad, which keeps your phone out of sight and helps you to avoid the temptation to look at it. There's also some space under the centre armrest, door bins big enough for a bottle of water, and a decent sized glove box. What we also like is that BMW offers the upholstery in different colours, so you don't have to have a totally black interior if you don't want to. Depending on the model, you can have cream, tan, or even red leather if you're feeling spicy. Rear seat space in here isn't amazing. First of all, you have to get in through these doors, which are pretty small. And once you're back here, headroom and legroom is really only okay rather than generous. And if you want to go somewhere with 3 passengers back here, bear in mind the central passenger, unusually for an electric car, has to deal with this large central tunnel robbing them of foot space. Tall passengers will find the sloping roofline impacts headroom too. The i4 has a full hatchback tailgate, unlike the Tesla Model 3's saloon opening, and that should make it easier to carry large items. Overall capacity is good too. There's 470 litres of space here. The seats fold down in a 40-20-40 split as well, which means you can carry long, thin items like skis or some flat pack furniture and still have 2 seats available. Before we take the sexy BMW i4 out on the road, we've got a quick usability test, as per usual, in the form of Hope's Car Olympics. So against the clock, I've got to fold down the rear seats so they're flat, tune in the radio to Absolute FM, and set the sat-nav to take me to Buckingham Palace. Do you think I can do it? Thank you for the vote of confidence. Let's go! So first of all, I'm going to fold down the rear seats. I'm going to just come in one side. It's just a handle here, nice and easy. Good for usability. Ah, I'm stuck on my dress. This one's very good as well. There we go, fold down. Jump in here. Get on that massive infotainment system. I'm going to use the voice control, actually. Set the sat-nav to take me to Buckingham Palace, please. Got to be polite.
I found settled destiny.
Thank you, lady. I love that haptic feedback. Let's press that. And we're off. We're starting the route. 1 hour, 5 minutes. Now we're going to go to radio. Press media. Going to use a really handy scroll wheel. Go up. Absolute, absolute. There's so many absolutes. There we go. Proof. Proof is in the pudding. Now you can see how quick and easy that was. This scroll wheel is so handy, especially when you're driving somewhere. It was so quick to scroll through. I love that. The voice control, there was no problems with that. I mean, I haven't been in this car very long and it already knows my voice and responded really well and correctly. That was the easiest way to find Buckingham Palace. I can't actually fault that process. It was really simple, great usability. I loved it. Today, we're driving the entry-level i4, which is called the eDrive 40. And let me tell you, it doesn't feel entry-level. It's incredibly quiet and smooth, but put your foot down and it really gets going. This eDrive 40 can get from 0 to 62 miles per hour in just 5.7 seconds, but real speed freaks can opt for the M50 model, which does the same sprint in an amazing 3.9 seconds. If you're keeping score, that's not quite as fast as Tesla Model 3 performance, but there's not a lot in it. There's more than enough power in reserve to make motorway cruising feel absolutely effortless, and it's still so controlled. You can just as easily bimble around town or enjoy yourself on a twisting back road. More importantly, both models have a really long range. BMW claims up to 367 miles and 315 miles for the eDrive 40 and M50 respectively. During our testing, we found these figures to be more like 320 miles and 280 miles in the real world. If you can find a rapid DC charger, the BMW i4 will charge up at a rate of 210 kilowatts. That equates to an 80% charge in as little as half an hour. Use a 50 kilowatt charger, which is much more common in the UK, and that same charge takes 83 minutes. Charge at home using a 7 kilowatt charger and you're looking at a 13-hour charge time, but only if you're going from totally empty to totally full. BMW's always been known for making cars that are great to drive, and the i4 is no exception. It's brilliant fun in the corners, but doesn't sacrifice comfort in the process. It's much more satisfying to drive than the Tesla Model 3 or the Polestar 2. The control weights and the precise quick steering gives you loads of confidence, and it stays controlled but firm over bumps. The M50 has a stiffer suspension setup, but even that's not too bad over potholes. You can choose from several driving modes. Comfort is the best for everyday use, but sport really amps everything up and even gives you an artificial soundtrack to help make up for not having a petrol engine roaring away under the bonnet. So if you're considering treating yourself to the BMW i4, but you're scratching your noggin thinking, which version do I go for? Here's my top 3 recommendations that should help you out. For the cheapest version of the BMW i4, you'll want the eDrive 40 in sport trim. That's the same version I'd recommend if you are a company car user. Okay, it costs significantly less, but you're not going to feel shortchanged at all. Finally, if you are a speed demon and you want to hear it whiz, then I'd recommend the incredibly powerful M50 model. The BMW i4 is a truly brilliant electric car. Its conventional feel will be a great selling point to many, but you can be reassured that underneath that familiar body and interior lies properly cutting-edge electric vehicle tech. The i4 has a great range and quick charging times. It's practical enough for most people with its hatchback boot, and I just love that the interior is so slick, well built and comfortable. If you'd rather your electric car feel more futuristic, then the Tesla Model 3 or Polestar 2 offer this. But neither are as good to drive as the BMW. If I were in the market for one, this eDrive 40 really does offer everything, not to mention it handles better than the M50 and costs significantly less.